All right, as the rest of the sports world is trying to figure out when it's coming back, we know for certain, Tate, that TBT will be back. And joining us now is Dan Friel. He's one of the co-founders of TBT, an event that initially seemed like just kind of a curiosity, Dan. I remember watching the inaugural one, and it was like, yeah, that's kind of cool. It has now turned into kind of a juggernaut. But obviously, we're in the midst of a coronavirus pandemic. So this year, TBT is going to take on a different form than what we're used to. Explain to everyone, and by everyone I mean myself, because I actually don't even know. I just saw the news that like things are going to be different this year, but I don't know exactly how. So explain to us what's going on here.
The shortest thing we're going to do is we're going to shrink the field from 64 teams down to 24. I think that the necessity, it seems like under the coronavirus and under the pandemic, is that you have to do these things almost in a bubble, and that's exactly what we've been planning for months. And now we're able to actually execute it. So we're going to shrink the number of teams in the field from 64 down to 24. We're going to play the whole thing in one location. There's going to be extensive testing of every participant, every person involved. We're going to have a pretty strict standard as well. If a positive test takes place, the team's going to be removed from the tournament, the entire team.
Wow.
So we feel like we've got a really great process in place.
So there's going to be some tampering, I think. I think there's going to be a team that's someone's going to be spreading a little. I don't know. I envision some sabotage going on here.
Well, you never know. I mean, I think teams are willing to do anything and everything to win TBT because it's winner takes all, and the only person that wins any money is the team that wins. But yeah, I mean, it's a pretty dramatic step, but I think it's one that's epidemiologically necessary in order to ensure the safety, not just of the players themselves, but their families when they go home and everything else. So it's one that we're prepared to take, and it's going to be a very dramatic series of test results.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you guys are promoting this, right, as a self-quarantine tournament. This is a basketball tournament that is dealing with the quarantine. So this is a real, test for the world to kind of see how this all will work. And some of the details that I'm reading through right now, right, like there's going to be a 14-day self-quarantine, right, and then a test, 3 days before you actually fly out. And then once you get there, another test. So there's basically 3 tests that will happen within a week for all the participants. There will be about 400 participants, but no more than 50 in the gym at the same time.
Right.
So it's going to be a process to say the least, correct?
Yeah. What goes into these decisions, Dan? Like, how do you arrive at all of these conclusions?
Well, I mean, there's been a lot of conversations with experts. Tara Kirk is a former Olympian that works now at Johns Hopkins in their school of, I think, public health, and John Mugar, our CEO and founder, has been talking to her for quite a while. But we've done a lot of research on this ourselves, and a lot of it is common sense. And so anything that you can do to mitigate the risk of the actual contraction of the virus is something that we're willing to do. So one of the things, in addition to all this testing that's going to take place, is that all the teams are going to be kept siloed to themselves. So, you're not going to have overseas elite interacting with Carmen's crew, the Ohio State alumni team. Those teams are basically going to be in their own little bubble within a bubble, so to speak, which also, increases the likelihood that nobody's going to contract anything. So we feel like we have a really good system in place. It's very safe. The challenge now is just to ensure that everybody has as good of a time as they normally would when they play TBT, and that fans enjoy it as much as they normally do.
You mentioned it's all happening at one location. I assume that is still a secret, or else you would have told us the location.
Yeah, we're in negotiations and final negotiations with several places. It's funny because as soon as you announce that you're coming back and that you are definitively playing, other places want to get in touch as well. But we really have nailed it down to a couple of places that we feel really good about. The setup is ideal in several of them, so we're very, very close to being able to announce that too.
Is it Six Flags?
Yeah, you should just do Six Flags.
That would actually be great. No, Universal Studios. It's going to be
Universal Studios. All right, so let's talk about TBT in general, not just this specific year. I obviously the big I would say, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but like the big bullet point, like the lasting legacy thus far of TBT is the Elam Ending. It was adopted in the NBA All-Star Game. First of all, what are your thoughts on the NBA using it in the All-Star Game? Because I could see it one of two ways. Like, obviously, it's a good thing because it's kind of validating that this is like a legitimate thing, that the highest level of basketball, they're now using this. But then on the other hand, it kind of makes, like, it's kind of cool that TBT has their own little baby, and this is the only place you can see the Elam Ending at work. How do you feel about the fact that the NBA used it in the All-Star Game?
I feel nothing but positivity about it. I was ecstatic just as a sports fan, and to be involved in the decision-making process to implement this and try this out to begin with back in 2017 when we did, and then to see it in one of the biggest basketball audiences of the year, and to see it go over so well. It wasn't just that they did it, is that it definitively made that, in my view, the best All-Star game that I've ever seen, almost in any sport, probably. It was awesome. It was awesome, and so nothing negative to be taken from it at all. The players had fun. It was great.
The one downside people seem to have, the NBA All-Star game ended with a free throw. The last year's TBT title game ended with a free throw. Is there any discussion about addressing that? Because people, it's hard to decide if this is like an actual concern, or if it's just people being loud on Twitter for a moment in time and complaining about something. So where do you guys stand on that? Is that something that you're like trying to toy with, like maybe fixing it so a game doesn't end at the free throw line?
Yeah, we have a few tweaks. One of the things that we're going to do this year is that a non-shooting foul is not going to result in 2 shots automatically, even if the team is in the bonus. It's going to result in a single shot and the ball. So one scenario that led to some of these games ending on free throws was if a team, for example, was up or down 3 rather, they would foul to prevent a 3 from being made. So if a team was 3 points away. So an off-the-ball foul now is not going to result in shots that are going to allow you to get a possession back in order so that you can win. So there's a couple of tweaks like that. I mean, one thing that I think a lot of people do harp on is sort of, the reactions on Twitter. And I tend to think that that's a very small minority of people. I think what most people saw at the end of that All-Star game was an unbelievable finish that ended in a way that, for example, the national title game did in 1988 when Ramil Robinson won it on free throws for Michigan. There's so much drama in that. I thought Anthony Davis was going to miss that second shot for sure when he missed the first one. And so we were in the stands, and we actually were there, and Nick Elam was sitting right next to me, and I was watching this, and this guy was like as excited as any human's ever. And I thought for sure he was going to miss it, which how much drama would that have been? So
yeah, everyone was pretending like it was anticlimactic, but if you're focusing on the fact that he made the second one, but when he missed that first one, I remember watching it and I was just like, oh my God, here we go. Right. It was awesome. It was so cool when he missed
And if anybody was going to miss one, it seemed like Anthony Davis would be the guy for some reason. I don't know why. It just seemed like he might have a little bit of a tense, grip on the ball, but it was fun one way or the other. I think it's less than 25% of games in our, in the time that we've done it, end on a free throw. So it's not that often that it actually does happen. And maybe not even be that number, maybe even lower than that.
One of the tweaks I saw suggested that I loved, and I don't even know how serious this was, but I actually thought it was a great idea, was to prevent guys, because one of the concerns is then you have a team that has game point basically, and the defense just starts hacking them every time. Like if you take away free throws, then the defense could just hack them and say check it back up. Like a guy gets
right,
you can just hack him and say check it back up. So I saw someone suggested if you foul a guy, you check it back up, but the guy who fouled has to start all the way on the opposite baseline, and then you check it up, and you're basically playing 4-on-5 for about 5.
Oh, like a penalty box.
Yeah, because we do that drill in basketball where you a lot of basketball programs do it, where the guys line up on the free throw line, the other guys are on the baseline, and you throw it to one guy, and then one guy has to touch the baseline and run. Yeah, like kind of a basketball penalty box was the idea. And I was like, I think I like that idea. I think that's
interesting. That's interesting.
And then if there's another foul, then you have to put 2 guys on there, and you just keep doing that until you either get a stop or someone scores.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm not saying that we'll do that or won't do that, but that's the sort of stuff that we always have our eyes on. So I'll definitely talk about that with
Put that in the suggestion box. Put that in the suggestion. I like that one.
Yeah.
I have to also ask. So last year, right? Carmen's crew wins. They win $2 million, and that was the big story, right? That the prize had doubled, and they got $2 million. And this year, there is officially no payout, right? That is out into the world yet. So I mean, could it be even more considering the circumstances? Is there even just considering the fact that we're going into the inner island, into the bubble, and all this other sort of stuff? Is there going to be what is this? Is this just a trick? Get them in the bubble and then say, all right, guys, we're just playing for fun.
Yeah. What's funny is I actually feel like a lot of guys would do it just for fun, just for the sake of being back on ESPN. But no, we'll have a prize for sure. What it's going to be yet, I can't really definitively say. But obviously this is a unique circumstance, and the budget is getting blown with all this stuff. So we'll see what happens. But I think that certainly our goal when we started this thing was to do a prize for $50 million. So we're not there yet, and once we do, then we'll feel pretty good about it.
What Tate mentioned Carmen's crew winning it last year. What recourse do I have, Dan, as a guy who was trying to get on the Carmen's crew team for like the last 5 years, and then they win it, and they just I know all of those guys. I played with all of those guys. Every summer I texted them, "Can I get on the team?" They'd laugh at me, and then they win the thing, and then every year they would lose, and I would send them all a text, be like, "You guys suck. That was hilarious how you 1-0. And then last year they win and they rub it in my face. And I feel very slighted, Dan. What should I do about this? How can I?
Well,
yeah.
I think the first one is that you've got a lawsuit here for intentional infliction of emotional distress. It seems clear that you could sue them. If nothing else, you could just harass them on Twitter, either through your own account or, through a burner account or something like that. So those are the two options that I would probably go with.
Everyone was tweeting me, like they won it last year. And I had a lot of fans were tweeting me like, you must be excited Ohio State guys won. I was like, no, that is my nightmare. That John Diebler and William Buford are champion. No, this is not good. This is not good at all.
Yeah. No, they actually, I'll be honest with you, every year I've gotten a chance to know the Ohio State guys even better. That was their third year last year, and I was just happy to see them win. They all had a great reaction to it. Zell basically wired the money into Diebler's account immediately after the game. It was a great reaction. He's like, we got this live, like, oh my God, there's the money, And so I was happy for those guys. It's a different lifestyle when you are playing professionally overseas than it is in the NBA. These guys really toil for that money, and they do a lot of things that would shock the average American sports fan. And so when I see a good guy like, Diebler or Aaron Kraft or any of those guys in Ohio State or Overseas Elite or any of them, it just makes you happy to know that they're kind of getting the due that they, I think, deserve.
That makes you happy. I wouldn't say.
Yeah, well, maybe not you, but you know them much better than I do, so I'll say that.
Yeah, well, part of the problem too is like when I go out to dinner with Diebler, he makes me pick up the tab. Even after he wins all that money, and I see it on national TV, and then he pretends like he's broke, and I'm like, dude, come on, this is ridiculous. That's ridiculous. But
it is ridiculous.
Anyway, well, we appreciate you joining us, Dan. We're excited for TBT. It's been a ton of fun watching this thing grow into, like I said, the first one, I remember it happening and just being like, there's nothing else on, I guess I'll watch it. Now I actually genuinely get excited for it every single year. Do you feel that as well? Like, do you feel that as a guy that's watched this thing grow, that it's just like the outside attention has just been swelling like that?
Yeah, anecdotally, I have a group of friends that have nothing to do with basketball or, sports or anything like that. And so the last couple of summers, I've been getting a lot more texts because they're watching it. It's like it's now become something that they're eager to see. And so, yeah, I feel like a lot more people are finding out about it. And the longer you're around, the more people find out about it and the more passionate fans you build. So the fact that you guys are talking about it really, and not to, pump your tires, but I really do appreciate it. We all appreciate anyone that is a big TBT fan. So, I'm really grateful for that for sure.
Well, thank you for joining us. We got to figure out a way for Tate and I to get more involved, though. We got to get a team.
Yeah.
We got to do something like, I don't know. I don't know how we do this. We got to take down Carmen's crew.
Yeah, well, we want to play on our own team as well. We want to form.
Well, that's a no-brainer. Like, why have a team if you're not going to suit up?
Okay,
great. Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we want to start a team that's we just call ourselves like the Goon Squad or something, and we make us play
We do hand check.
Yeah, we hand check everybody. Our entire mission is just to beat Carmen's crew.
Bill Lambeer's our coach.
Oh, that would be great. Bill Lambeer would be great. Oh my gosh, I would love that.
I like this. The Goon Squad. That's our team. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, it takes all kinds to make a field of 64. So when we're back at 64 next summer, I really expect to see the Goon Squad sponsored by you guys back on the court.
I love it. All right. We appreciate it, Dan.
Thanks, guys.
For the best access, perspective, and personalities in all of sports, follow us at Fox Sports on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.